Everyone is Addicted is a judgment-free space for real conversations about addiction. It's a show about breaking the stigma and building empathy. Everyone is Addicted, Mondays at 11 p.m.
What's going on, everybody? This is the host of Recover Out Loud podcast, Sean Young. Before we dive in, I want to be clear. I'm not a medical professional. I'm not here to diagnose or treat. I'm simply a catalyst, someone who's walked through the fire and now speaks from experience, reflection, and a deep desire to help others find their way forward. This podcast may include honest conversations about addiction, mental health challenges, and suicidal thoughts or ideations. These are real parts of the human experience, and we won't shy away from them. If you're listening, please do so with self-care and self-awareness. And if you're struggling, please reach out. There's help out there. And most importantly, there's hope. Viewer discretion is advised. Now let's get it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Recover Out Loud, episode 127. Today, we got a super awesome guest. We got Alex Garner. How you doing, Alex?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. What an awesome intro.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I seen you. You were down there. You're going like this. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I love dance music like that. So it's
great. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, a few of my guests have talked about it, and it's a vibration thing, right? And it's a frequency thing, right? So like you put on a really good intro that people start to feel, and it starts to raise their spirits a little bit, even if they can't come into this interview like in less than a desirable mood. It changes the mood.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Music is powerful. Music and tone and all of that. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I flow, like I flow with that, right? Like I like that type of stuff, that energy stuff. And it's true. Like our inputs control our outputs too, right? Like what we take in, like people listening to this podcast, this is going to help you even if you don't learn anything this particular episode. It's just the positive energy that's coming from it helps you. You know, so I love that.
Absolutely. Alex, would you like to give a formal introduction of yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Alex Garner. I am a sober life coach, but more importantly, I have been sober for 4.5 years, or a little under 4.5. I think my story, I've shared it before, and I think a lot of people get something out of it. So that's why I was kind of interested in this and telling, because if I can do it, you can do it, certainly. And it doesn't matter what we all go through. We all go through different things, but the thing is, I have felt the way that you feel, whether that's now or I have felt the way that you have felt in the past. And when we do that, we have to come together and put our brains together and figure out life, right? Because we have the same experiences. So that's kind of like what I live by, is connection, and helping other people get and stay sober.
Absolutely. Have you ever heard of the saying, or have you ever heard the saying, the opposite of addiction is connection?
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. When you said you thrive on connection, man, like I was just like, man, I do too, and that just brought me right back to it, man. Because it's true, waking up every day, I got to hold myself accountable and know that I'm going to record with somebody, and I have to, maintain my recovery and my sobriety, and that connection keeps me in the loop and keeps me from self-destructing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Like my friends save my life every day,
Yeah.
And they see things when I can't see them.
Yeah.
And they hear me say things that aren't aligned with who I want to be. I want to be called out for that. Yeah. So you have to find connection, absolutely, to get sober. I don't know a single person that's ever gotten sober by themselves. I can't think of one, so dive into that connection,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So before we jump in and dive into your story, man, how's the weather out where you live?
Yeah, I'm in Los Angeles, so it's nice. It's blue sky, warm. I think it's like 80 something, 90 something. It's been nice for a while. Like it's nice. It's in August and it's still in the 80s and 90s out here. So I can't complain. How about you? Where are you located at? Or
I live
about?
in Maryland. I live about an hour from Baltimore, and
Okay.
it our whole summer has been rainy,
Oh
and then
no.
it's just a humid, and then it goes right back to rainy and then humid. Right. So like we got dumped on 2 days ago. Um, and then yesterday was just super humid toward, at, pretty much all day. And then later at night, like around 6, 7 o'clock, it was just like really chill, real mellow, like 70 degrees. And then I stepped outside today to water the plants and I was like, oh my God, it's so hot. And that was
Yeah,
like 10 in the morning. I was like, shit, what is happening out here?
it's humid,
Crazy.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, why Los Angeles?
Yeah. So, um, where do I start? So I used to live out here in 2010 through 2014 in a previous life, I call it, because I was drinking and but things hadn't hit the fan yet. So I lived out in LA for 4 or 5 years and then things hit the fan and I
Yeah.
moved back home. I got help. And recently, about 2 years ago, after I got sober, my relationship, my partner is chief medical officer at a hospital out here. So yeah, and actually they've helped quite a bit in some of my sobriety. I'll get into that because I use science and stuff with my sobriety. But yeah, so they got a job out here and the person that I was dating, and so I just moved out here.
Nice.
Yeah, I
Well,
got lucky. Got lucky. It could have been anywhere.
yeah,
But
absolutely. Thank your, personally, I want to thank your significant other because they're saving lives.
yeah, thank you. I'll tell him that for sure. Yeah,
Absolutely.
he loves what he does. It's he used to be a doctor, right? So like then he got into technology side and but still a scientist at heart, you know. But yeah, I'll tell him that. Thank you for saying that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's go ahead and dive in your story. When was the first time that you remember drinking or doing drugs? I mean, because some people like, they strictly drink and then they'll recreationally do drugs because they drink, or they're just
Yeah.
all out drugs.
Yeah. So I'm from the Midwest in Illinois. So like the small, not Chicago, south of it, way south of it. And small town, 2,500 people. And so my mom and dad would let me slip like wine. They would slip me wine here and there. Never like, I just remember tasting it and thinking it tasted good. Just like it was like, it wasn't good wine. It was like the shit wine, of course, because that's how my family rolls. I think it was called White Zinfandel.
Oh,
um, yeah,
yeah.
White Zen. I don't even know if that's around anymore, but yeah, and I liked it. But I mean, it wasn't anything like a lot of people have stories where like I was addicted from the day. Like that didn't happen to me. But so yeah, I mean, that was like when I was 10 or 11, and I would have it at dinner sometimes with my parents and stuff, but it wasn't anything outrageous, you know.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. When would you say that drinking became a part of your life, and why do you feel that it became a part of your life, like a bigger part of your life?
Yeah. So I in high school I played on the soccer team, and there were a bunch of potheads. So naturally I became a pothead. I got into pot more intensely than alcohol, but then in high school, like I was drinking with friends. But it really didn't become like a weekly thing until college when I went into college. And I think that's for anybody that goes to college, I think that's normal. Like you go out drinking every weekend. And then that's also when I got introduced to a little bit of harder drugs. So and that obviously didn't mix well, but I had a really high tolerance for these type of things. So I was always drinking longer and staying up to the next morning when my friends would be passing out, things like that. Like the party would just begin when they were getting ready to go to sleep. So noticing that now, I noticed I had a problem, but I didn't notice it at the time,
Absolutely. Absolutely. So when do you feel that it started to become more of a problem in your life where it was like taking over?
Yeah. Yeah. So I graduated with a marketing degree. I got an awesome job in out here in LA, and in 2010, and I started working. Like work was most important to me. I moved out here not knowing anybody, so I worked. That's all I did was work, and I was doing really well. But I started to drink during the nights, like during the week. So I would say it was probably right around like age 23, 23 or 24. And then that, like, in my mind, I know it wasn't a quick progression, but it is a quick progression in my mind, right? Like, I started drinking every night, and then it would be sometimes during the day at during lunch or something like that. So that's when but I still didn't have any problems. But I was starting to drink a lot then. So I would say probably 23, 24.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I don't know about you, but it was kind of like I know for me it was when it started to become a real serious problem. It was like very innocent, right? Like it's like, oh,
Yeah.
just gonna have a beer with lunch.
Yeah.
Hey, we're gonna close out the nightcap, boom, whatever.
Yeah.
But it started to become more progressive and like harder to deal with. Was that how it was for you?
Yeah, so the drinking, it became that pretty quickly. But then I had a big significant event in my life where I met somebody and I came out of the closet. So that was like I think a big reason why I was drinking, to be honest. Like hindsight, but it's not like I came out and then stopped drinking. So maybe that wasn't.
Yeah.
So I came out and I met this guy in in like Beverly Hills. I have a crazy story. But and that's when I got introduced to cocaine, like a lot of it. So we started doing it together. This is probably when I was like 24. So I was out here a year before I met him, and started drinking and doing cocaine. And he never forced it on me, but like we would do it together, and then I would stay up later than him, just like it was like just with drinking, right? And then I started to do it behind his back. So that's when things got really dicey. And then my job went virtual, and that was the worst thing that could have happened. Because then I was working at home. I had a dealer delivering it to me at the house. I would just leave money in the mailbox, and then he'd come and deliver it. Like I wouldn't even see anybody. And I just started doing it all day, every day. And that obviously I couldn't hide it that long, and it put a lot of strain on the relationship. I mean, it was a disaster. It ended up being a disaster. And there was this one night where we got in a fight, and I had been up for like 2 or 3 days, and I went down to this bar in West Hollywood, which is a popular bar down there, called the Abbey. And recently they're known for this, but at the time I didn't really know this. But I went there, and this guy bought me a drink, and I remember drinking it, and then I don't remember anything. And unfortunately, this is like popular at this particular bar. Like it's a lot of stories that happen where people get drugged. So I got drugged, and I remember them inviting me to a house party up in Hollywood Hills, which was very common. Like that happened all the time. It was in this lifestyle that I was living. So I just went with them, and then I blacked out. And I remember being in a car, and it was against my will. And I was like, get me out, get me out. They wouldn't unlock the doors. I started hitting the guy. Finally, he yelled at the driver to let me out, and I left, and I had no shoes. I lost my bag. This is when I came to, and I ended up this was like 2 in the morning. and I ended up on the streets, like in what's called Compton, which in LA is not good area, right? It was 2 a.m. I was pounding on people. I had finally figured out what was happening. Like I was being taken against my will and drugged. I was pounding on people's doors at 2 a.m. In Compton, in like the worst area. And people weren't answering, of course, like I'm the reason why they have guns, like people like this. And I went to this gas station, and I'll never forget this because I went into the gas station. My feet are all torn up. They're all bloody. And I asked, I was like, look, I just want to use your phone. I just need to call a taxi. So he looked up a taxi for me. He called the taxi. I went back outside, and I remember he closed the door and locked it behind me. And I was like, I'm that guy, like that stood out to me. I went to the curb. I fell asleep on the curb. And for whatever reason, I don't know why, but the taxi driver woke me up, got me into the taxi. And then I told him where I needed to go, and we went there. Now, mind you, I lost my wallet. I lost everything, like the shoes, all of this. I get home at like 3 something in the morning, and my where the hell have you been? And I just go straight in, and I'm all bloody, right? And I just go and I just crash. Now, this guy needs to be paid, the driver. So he's banging on the door. My partner goes and gets money and pays for it. It was a $188 cab. That's how far south I was from where I lived, right? Like it was bad. Like I was being taken. I mean, I have thoughts about this, and I like, there's stories out there that, in the gay community that people get, like it could have been like a lot of things could have happened. You could have been sold into a sex ring, could have been, like all this stuff, right? But so that was a crazy experience. And anyways, I woke up the next morning, and my partner and my sister were at the foot of the bed. He called my sister over, and they said, you need to get help. And at that point, I was just like, okay. Because I was like, this has gotten out of hand. And I don't even and I was trying to tell them that I got drugged, but they didn't believe me, because of my usage. So finally we went to the ER. I got my stomach pumped, and we found that I had been drugged. So I think they finally believed me. But then I just went into rehab straight from that. And that was my first stint at rehab.
Wild. Absolutely wild, man.
Yeah, pretty crazy. I mean, that's not even the craziest. Yeah, that's just the fun part. I mean, that was like a fun story.
That's just Tuesday.
Yeah, I know, right? And I know you guys will. Yeah, I mean, everybody has their stories, right? Like, I know you guys can relate. I know you can. I know your listeners can. So, I went through rehab the first time. Looking back on it, I just wasn't ready. I stayed sober for about 6 months. And then I used again. I got kicked out of the house I was living in with my partner, and we ended our relationship basically. And I was on the streets in LA for about 6 months. Now, when I say the streets, I know both definitions because I've lived them. This was like hopping, like couch surfing. This wasn't that bad. But I started using I started using some heroin at that point, and started to get addicted to that. And that's when things got worse, and then I had no place to live. Basically, I was on the streets in LA. So I finally called my sister, and she got me home. I went into rehab for the second time. Same story, right? Like stayed sober for 6-8 months, and then relapsed, and went back out. And then this last time, I tried methamphetamines. So cross addiction is a huge part of my story. Yeah. And I went to rehab. Every time was for a different drug. Yeah. Like first was alcohol and cocaine, or first was cocaine and alcohol. Second was heroin. Third and fourth were meth. And that's when things got really bad. I used for about 5 years on meth, IV and smoked and all that. And I ended up homeless in Chicago, Illinois for 1.5 years. And that's why I was saying I've lived both sides of homelessness. That was for real homeless. Like sleeping under the stars homeless, for a long period of time. Like I before I got homeless, I was switching phones every week and losing phones and losing this and losing that. So my parents had no way to get a hold of me and family. And so they just all, I mean, you know, they had to do their own thing. They didn't want to enable me. So, and I had used them enough. So they had to distance themselves. So I was just out there alone for about 1.5 years and went into psychosis for about 8 months while I was homeless. And this was during COVID.
Yeah.
So I was on a really crazy drug, trying to understand what the hell's going on in the world. Because COVID was weird for everybody, but imagine being on meth for it. And homeless during it. It was just confusing. I thought like part of me was like, I'm all part of a play. Like this is all a joke. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because you get into the psychosis and you start to believe some of the stuff that you're thinking. And I thought I thought I was on the Ellen show, that they were going to come out at some point and like it reveal that this was all fake. I mean, it was all sorts of crazy thoughts, of crazy thoughts. So I mean, I have story after story after story of homelessness and just the craziness that it ensues. I got into legal trouble. Had a, at one point I was up against, I think 5 felonies and like 9 misdemeanors. And after getting sober and getting my life straight, I only have like 3 on my record, 3 misdemeanors and 1 felony, and they can get expunged this year because it's been 3 years. So no matter how bad you get into this, there's always a way out.
Absolutely.
You can always turn it around. You know,
what was that way out for you? Because you LA and Chicago, man, two real rough areas in the country, especially for drug use.
Yeah.
Where, what led you into recovery?
Yeah. So, when I was using, meth and stuff, I got my way a lot. And that was almost like it was to my detriment, because I got to try every plan that I had ever come up with of how I can possibly use and be a successful person. Right. So I just ran out of ideas. I was done. Like I remember I after Chicago, I told my parents that I was sober, so they would let me move back in with them. They said yes, and then they realized I wasn't, kicked me out. I was homeless again in Bloomington, Illinois, and wandering the streets and all this. And I finally just ran out of ideas. I finally couldn't get a ride to my dealer's house. Because I had used everything and everybody. I had no money. I had no place to stay. I was like, everything had finally come to an end. Like there was just no other way. It was either I was going to do something to hurt myself, or I was going to, there was no other option. People in the program call it the jumping off point, where you realize you can no longer live without it, but you can also no longer live with it. It's a terrible place to be. Yeah. Terrible, because there's no option. You feel like you have no option, even though there is. So I finally went into my 5th rehab, and things were different this time. I started listening a little bit differently. But here's the thing that changed everything for me. I was in rehab for the 5th time, and obviously through my story, you can hear that I had no problem getting sober, but staying sober was my problem.
Yeah.
So things like rehab, it would be great while I was doing it, right? But or while I was at the meeting, or while I was meeting with a friend, or I was at rehab, it was great while I was there. But the second I would leave, my mind was my worst enemy. And it would just, before long, I would just go back out. And I've worked the steps 4 times, right? Fully through since I got sober this time, but they didn't help me with things like habits. They didn't teach me about emotional sobriety. It didn't teach me about how to rewrite my subconscious mind, like how to make this my best friend. So when I was in rehab this 5th time, my sister gifted me a book, and it was called Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. And this guy was a monk. He was a monk for 3 years. Uh, and he basically left the monk monastery to spread his what he learned there to more people. And I was like, okay, this is interesting, because in the book he talks about two different mindsets. It's a monkey mindset or a monk mindset. A monkey mindset, I knew all about that. That's like where you're bouncing from one idea to the next. You're never finishing a thought. I mean, that's like this definition of meth, right? Like, so I just, that was me, right? And then he talked about the monk mindset. And it talks about no matter what, being at peace, no matter what life throws at you, you're okay. No matter what, you're not happy, but you're content. And I was like, that, and then he talked about how he could control his thoughts in his mind. And I was like, that's what I want. I want this. Like, so I continued doing the AA program. I continued doing rehab, but I was reading this book. And in this book, he gives prime examples and exercises, like actual exercises to do on a daily basis in your life to help you rewrite your subconscious and conscious mind. And at this point, I didn't even know what the hell that was, but it sounded cool to me. So I was like, I'm doing it. So I started doing it and it worked. And I was like, holy crap, this guy's onto something, because it has nothing to do with sobriety, but it's working for me, right? So I found out he was a life coach. I found out he had his own school, and I was for life coaching. And I was like, that's where I'm going. And that's what I want to be. I want to be a life coach, help people get sober. And I want to show people this way, right? Because I can't be the only one that thinks like this. I can't be the only one that feels like this. Because look, I love AA. It saved my life 100%. I will always say that. But for me personally, I needed additional tools. I needed more. I needed to learn how to stop my crazy ass mind. Like, because I was coming off of meth, it's just nonstop, all negative, like in some of this. So since then, I've been studying neuroscience, and I've met with neuroscientists, and I've developed tools that follow how the brain and nervous system function after you get sober. And these tools help you heal faster in those areas. And it helps you rewrite your subconscious mind, so you're not always thinking negatively. Because the truth is, a normal human being has 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. That's a fact, right? So 80% of those thoughts are negative, and 80% of them, so separate fact, 80% of them are negative, and then separately, 80% are repetitive. So most of the thoughts that we have, a normal human being, is negative and repetitive. No wonder we're struggling out there, right? Like, no wonder. Now I beg to differ. I beg to differ that, or I guarantee that it's worse for somebody in sobriety. It's worse than 80%, like 95% negative, 95% repetitive, because that's all we do. That's our specialty. That's what we do, is overthink. So that's what these tools help you rewrite, that stuff. And I was like, holy crap, this guy's onto something. I went to his school. I learned all this stuff about the brain, and I've taken like a couple classes at Harvard now for neuroscience. And like, I've become obsessed with it. And that's what I do with my coaching now, is so I help people both in AA and people that don't want to have anything to do with AA, but either way, this stuff works, because it's all about science and how the brain functions. And back in the day when AA first came out, obviously the science wasn't there, like that's why they even say in the big book, like, we don't, maybe science will come up with a way, but they haven't yet. Right. But I'm kind of here to say that science is catching back up with it. And there's some really good recent findings with some tools that'll help you do it, So yeah, I know you didn't get to ask any questions in there, but I just felt like I was in a flow, so I just went for it. I hope that's okay.
And that's good. That's good. I think that is very important. One of the things that you really hit on is the neuroscience behind addiction and recovery, right? And you said, talking about how 80% of those thoughts are negative, and then 80% of those thoughts are repetitive, and how it could be harder for somebody, in recovery. And absolutely, early recovery is the hardest, because you still have the effects of the substance of choice in your system. And as a matter of fact, that like the side effects do not actually leave your body for 2 years after you get sober. So
Yeah.
that's why they call like up to 2 years early recovery, and then you get that third year or after that second year, and it's a long term or sustained recovery because you no longer have the effects of the alcohol. Now you're trying to process through life and
Yeah.
process through the thoughts around it. And what I've had conversations on the show before with doctors and psychologists and even some people that are in long term recovery. And I think like the common understanding is that like it's not yes, the substance is the problem, but it's the way that we react to it, the way
Yeah.
that our brain, the thoughts around it. Like I know for me, I can't go out and have one drink and be fine. Like that's
Oh,
just
for
not
sure.
fucking
Yeah.
it's not possible for me. But I also know that if I refrain from doing that, that I give myself another 24 hours. And
Yeah.
so restructuring the brain is a real, the subconscious is really big. One of the authors I really love that talks heavily about restructuring, the subconscious and restructuring your thoughts and becoming like something better is Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Oh yeah, I
And
love Joe. Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, I love yeah, and actually I want to go to one of his seminars because that man
Yeah.
is
I was thinking
powerful.
about doing that this year. He has one in Denver and Nashville and all that. Yeah. I'm gonna go to one of those. We should hook up on one of those. That'd be sweet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think that would be really awesome. I'm a massive fan of his, and
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, there's so many people, guests of the show, that kind of like feel the same way. People that are on more spiritual, supernatural path,
Yeah.
holistic path. If you will.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so since you got sober, man, and you got into recovery, man, what do you feel has been the most impactful thing that you've learned?
Um, I think that I'm bigger than my thoughts. Like that my thoughts don't control me. And the number one tool that did that is meditation.
Right.
Meditation saved my life. I mean, seriously, it saved me from overthinking, and there's so many benefits to it. I wrote an article on how many benefits there are to meditation, and it's crazy. I mean, it's crazy, and science is finding more and more. But I would say that the biggest thing is that I have the ability, and you have the ability. Anybody listening has the ability, if you practice long enough, to take a step back from what you're thinking and realize that you are bigger than that. Like you are the one that's actually in control of that. Right now, we can't control everything that we think, but we can control how we react to it. We can control how we feel towards it. And when you take yourself and put it above your thinking, you realize how much power you actually have. And that's what meditation gave to me, like 100%. So that would be, yeah, that's what I would say is the best thing that I've learned is that I'm bigger than my thoughts. Because that used to keep me, I thought my thoughts were that was it. I thought that was the script,
Yeah.
like before when I was using, like whatever I thought, that's what we're going with because that's what it is. That's what I just thought it was the script. Um,
Yeah.
and it's not at
Yeah.
all. It doesn't have to be, at least.
Absolutely. Were you one of those people that just could like to a degree couldn't sit down and meditate for a long time? Because
Oh,
I
for
know
sure. Yeah.
there's a lot of people that I see that say, "Oh, I'm ADHD, so I can't sit down and meditate." And
No,
it's like you
that's
just
the
have
person that needs it the most, okay? That's a
yes,
huge that was me, okay? So listen, like I promise, that's the person that needs it the most. Okay? So
yeah,
don't use it as an excuse. You need it the most because that's what it's going to do for you. It's going to slow you down. It's going to make you
yeah,
okay with where you're at in life. It's going to make you present. It's going to make you think it's going to activate the prefrontal cortex so you're making better decisions. There's a whole bunch of benefits to it. But yeah, that's my thought is because I used to be that. I used to be like, I can't meditate. Like I'm ADD. I was on Vyvanse and all this stuff. And I was like, see, I have proof. And like, no,
yeah,
like it doesn't matter. Like that, you're the person, I was the person that needed it the most for sure.
yeah. I know a lot of people. They're like, "Oh, I just can't get my brain to shut off." And there's actual meditations that you can use to shut that brain off,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
It
there's,
doesn't happen
you know,
right away. Right. You just have to do it consistently. Yeah.
Yeah. I've done different forms of meditation. I've done one that's called I rest, where essentially like it's like I rest. And so you lay down and you start to meditate, and the actual guy that's leading the meditation says, invite those thoughts in, right? Invite
Yeah.
them in and allow them to hold space, right? Find out why they are so prevalent in your life and then let them go.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
So
the
you
thing,
got
is letting them go. Yeah.
so many people
You know?
hold on to them. So many people hold
Yeah.
on to it, and then those thoughts like start to ruminate and take over your life. A lot, especially like a lot of the negative ones. As a culture and a society, we hold on to those negative thoughts like it's our dying breath. But when somebody congratulates us and says you've done a
Yeah.
great job,
Yeah.
discount it. We say, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
I'll just
Well, that's where that stat comes from, the 80% negative. It's
yeah,
true, man. Like it's 100% true, because it's and that's what I mean by you don't have okay, there's certain people that do have control over their thoughts. That's like an advanced level of meditation, but that's years and years and years. But you do have power over your thoughts, I guess, is the better way to say that. Um, and it doesn't mean the negative thoughts are going to go away, but you're going to bring your awareness to the point where you'll notice a negative thought, you'll notice and you'll recognize not to hang on to it, and then you'll just let it pass, so it doesn't become a repetitive thought, right?
yeah,
Like that's what you want to get to. Um,
yeah,
and I love this. There's this. I don't remember, maybe a Chinese proverb or something like that, but it talks about how like fish in a pond, right? Like if you're standing on the side of a pond and you look at fish and you see a bunch of them, you're not going to just lock eyes on one. You're just going to look at them, right, and see them all. That's like how you want to view your brain and your mind. You'll see all the thoughts, but don't attach to any of them. You don't have to. You don't have to entertain any of them. And that's what meditation gives you, is that power to do that, to back up and say, I don't need to attach to my thoughts. I don't need to think this way, you
yeah.
know?
Have
And
have you
then you have to rewrite it, right? Then you rewrite your subconscious mind so those thoughts are more positive. So that's the big thing. But yeah,
Absolutely. And a lot of people don't realize that meditation, you can use advanced forms of meditation to actually heal yourself, right? So,
yeah,
like, there's a body scan where you can identify like points of contention in your body and breathe through it, right? Because like
yeah,
meditation is about changing, the way that you think, but it's also about that belly work, that deep breathing, right? And
the
so, like, you
awareness. Yeah.
can
Oh yeah, yeah,
the awareness of your body, right? Like, okay, hey, I've got tension in my neck. I'm going to take a few deep breaths and I'm going to breathe through it, and then that tension's gone, right?
yeah,
And it's so cool to be able to do that. And that's what I've been trying to get so many people to like take into account is like you can heal a headache, you can heal a
yeah,
body ache, you can heal just about everything, with the exception of like a broken limb, right? Like
yeah,
through meditation, and it's so beneficial. And
yeah.
on top of that, I found when I meditate, my life is so much more peaceful and less chaotic than when I didn't meditate.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because you're it's not just a fluke. Like
Yeah,
you're literally training your body to respond differently. Like that's the monk
yeah,
mindset. That something can come through, you can have death in your family, you can have all of this stuff and you are still the same. That's what I wanted when I was in rehab, because I was so sick of this. I just wanted this. I wanted
yeah.
peace, you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now there's you're mentioning breath work. So I'm certified. Have you heard of Wim Hof breath work? Like the really
Yeah.
intense deep breathing? So I'm certified with that. And I do once a month I do a breathwork session out here in LA, and it's awesome. So it's really deep breathing. It's 3 minutes of a specific type of breath, and then you rest for a minute, and you do 9 sessions of that. Um, and people shake, you get lobster hands, you're taking on more oxygen than you're used to, so your body reacts differently. But that causes deep release, like really deep tension and release, because the body holds everything. It holds trauma from when you were a kid, and if you don't release that in a right way, whether it's psychologically or literally, physically, emotionally, mentally, it stays in there. That's another thing I've learned about neuroscience and the nervous system. The nervous system is created for when we were cavemen. It's fight or flight response. We don't need that anymore, but we act that way.
Yeah.
Like a small problem, fight or flight response. right?
Yep.
And we don't need that. So meditation helps you hone in on that too. It helps you kind of lower that down to where you're not reacting so much and you're not causing the fight or flight to go off in your nervous system. But breath work is all about nervous system. Like that's why I love it, because it just resets it, you know? It allows it to
Absolutely.
do its thing naturally.
Absolutely. And on top of that too, like with meditation, breath work, like they can help out with manifesting, right? Like
Oh,
manifesting
for
your
sure.
destiny, manifesting what you want, right? I feel like since I've gotten sober, I've manifested a ton because I've worked on it and I've, worked through it. And I'm pretty sure the same is for you, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say, but I'm pretty sure like when you started getting clean and sober, like you didn't project your life to be back in Los Angeles.
Oh,
But it
certainly
just kind
not. No.
of
No.
yeah.
So you
So what is
do you want to hear the science behind manifestation?
absolutely,
It's awesome.
absolutely.
Okay. So it'll make sense once you hear it. But okay, so this I learned obviously through this class. One of the classes I took, I don't know where it was, but it doesn't matter. So okay, so the science behind it is all right. So let's say that one of the things that I wanted to become was focused and disciplined. I was not focused at all, and my discipline was out the window. Like I could not trust myself to, like, if I made plans with you, I would not go. Like it was, my trust was broken, all this stuff. So I wanted to work on being focused and having discipline. So if you want to manifest that, let's say manifest those two particular things into your life, the way that I do it is through affirmations, right? So how affirmations work is you put an I am statement above something that you want to become or manifest. So I am focused, I am disciplined, right? So now just because you say that 3, 6, 9 times a day, sorry, but that's not enough science for me to prove that it gives you manifestation. Now there are other people that believe that, and that's awesome, and go for it. But I needed more science. So this is how that works. Okay. So when you say it so many times, like I am focused, I am disciplined, I am focused, I am disciplined, I am focused, I am disciplined, you're rewriting your brain, your subconscious and your conscious mind. And what happens is you don't all of a sudden become more focused and disciplined. But what happens is you're raising your awareness level to the point where you become open to opportunities to become more focused and disciplined. So
Yeah.
there's still an action part in that. That's the active part, right? In manifestation. You don't just sit around and say, I want to be focused, and then you manifest it. Like you train your brain. So like for instance, if I want to be more focused and disciplined, I'm saying my affirmations, and then a week later, I've been doing them every day. Now that's on the top of my mind. It's called top of mind awareness, right? Because we've been saying it so much and we've been restructuring our brain. So as I'm going about my day, I see an opportunity. It's on the top of my mind awareness. So I see an opportunity where I'm like, oh, that's where I could be more disciplined. That's where I can be more focused. But it's still on me to act on it.
Yeah.
Right. So that's actually how you become it. Right. So it's a 3-step process. You think it, you feel it, and then you act it. And that's how you become something. So that's manifestation with science behind it. Like,
Yeah.
so it's really about, it's just raising your awareness levels to have more opportunities, to see more opportunities in your life, to be that with what you manifested. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So while you're explaining that, I just kept replaying in my brain. Thoughts becomes feelings, feelings become behaviors. Right.
Yes,
So like
exactly.
what you think, you start to feel, and what you feel, you start to behave. Right. And
Yeah.
even if
So think it,
even if
feel it,
you're
act it.
not,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, even if you're not that at that time, right? Like you start to think it, and then you start to believe it or feel it, and then you start to act it out. And then
Yeah.
through those exercises, you actually become that, right? And so
Yeah.
I find I find that it's very beneficial, and I hope that a lot more people start to catch on to that and understand
Yeah.
manifestation a little bit
Yeah.
better. So how is life different for you today than when you first got clean and sober?
Oh my gosh. Peace, freedom, purpose. Purpose is probably the biggest one for me. I'm aligned with my purpose. that was huge for me because I just lacked purpose. I lacked meaning. I lacked a place in this world, and that's why I felt like I used, but now I have purpose, and it's helping other people become sober with my sober coaching through these science-backed tools. So that's a big thing. But that's given me so much, like honestly, having the balls to quit my job and start a business like that. I still surprise myself that I did that, so things like that I never would have been able to even conjure, like, you know what I mean? Like I was brand new sober. Who's going to want to listen to me about getting sober? I don't even know. I've been trying to do this for forever. But that's where the science-backed tools came in, and it started making sense. And I was like, oh, I think this will make sense to some other people too if I show it to them. And it did. So yeah, it's just totally different, man. It's like, it's a different life. It's a different life. I don't know how else to explain it.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the business a little bit. Obviously you're a sober life coach. And so how does that involve your business?
Yeah. So I started a business, like I got certified about 3 years ago, and then started a business about 2. And basically I help whoever, like whoever wants to get sober and is open to science-backed tools and techniques. So I get people that are brand new, that haven't quit drinking yet, that quit drinking with the tools. I met people that have been sober for 2 years that just want to level up. I do that. I've met people that have quit, but they haven't done anything about it, and they're like 6 days sober. So I kind of help anybody and everybody that's open to that. But it's a 12-week program, so it's a 90-day program. And I meet with my clients twice a week at the beginning to make sure that things are solid, that you're getting the most help. There's homework, there's assignments, there's videos to go through, modules. There's meditations to do. There's breathwork sessions to do. So there's a lot that you do over the 12 weeks. But it's awesome, man. And it's so far, like I've helped. I think I'm at 54 people now, and 94% success rate, which is insane to me for getting sober and staying sober. That's the big thing, staying sober. So of course we've had people relapse, but they've gotten back up, and they continue to do the tools. Like these are tools that you implement into your daily life. You don't just do them once and you're done. Like you put them into your life every day. That's what's needed, I think, So it's awesome. I love it. I help people get sober, and they have the biggest aha moments in their life, and somehow I get paid to do it, Like it's crazy.
Absolutely. So Alex, where can we find you at?
Yeah. So my website is just my name, but it's alexsgarner.com. I'll put this in the chat for you too, so you can have it. Oh, you already have it. Okay. Yeah. So alexsgarner.com. It's also just Sober Coaching LLC. If you just Google that, you should find me too. But alexsgarner.com. So GARNER is the last name. Or you can go on Facebook and just search Sober. That's my Facebook group. And Sean should have my links in here, but those are my 2 biggest ones. I'm also on TikTok at alex.garner.life.coach. So check me out there. Those are my big areas: the Facebook, the TikTok, and then my website. So
sounds good. And all the links are going to be down in the descriptions. And one last thing before we go, I always ask my guests this because I find this to be a real big part of my recovery, and I want to extend it to you. What are 3 things you are grateful for today, Alex?
Oh, yeah. I wish I could show you this. Literally this morning, I made a gratitude list of 50 things, and you'll have to check out my content because I challenged my listeners, or my followers, to do it too. And I got through about half of them, 25 of them. And then I had to really think hard, right? Because that's when you get past, the normal things. So I'm going to pick 3 that were later. So number one, I have my list here. So, what I'm grateful for, my voice that's starting to shine through and find its own place. That's one thing I'm grateful for. I try to think of things that I have that are unique to me, that the universe has like gifted me, that nobody else has, stuff like that. So I'm grateful for my thoughts being more positive nowadays. And something fun I would say is I'm grateful for my imagination.
God, that's awesome.
Yeah.
All three solid things. I don't think
Yeah.
I've ever heard those three things. Period. So that's awesome, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
But I want to take a moment and say, Alex, thank you for being a guest on the show, and thank you for sharing your experience with us and your strength and your hope. That is very important. Your voice is important. It is reaching people,
Mm.
and I'm grateful to have met you, and I'm grateful to call you brother. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Sean. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's awesome, man. And thank you. Thank you for having me and allowing me to share my voice. That's just as important as the voice itself, So I appreciate that.
Absolutely. And everybody, I want to take a moment and say thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Thank you for everything that you do for us. I'm grateful for every single one of you. And until next time, be kind to yourself, be gracious to yourself, and love yourself. You are loved, you are worthy, and you are worth it.